Well, this is post number 2, the bathroom mirror selfie of me talking about the most momentous day of my life, which right now we're calling something like Dad's Dust, Atoms, and I need to add something like, and the uniform construct of intelligence, something like that. We can edit the title later, but that gives us something to work with for now. And you can actually see, well, you can see my bald head and my glasses. So, and that's probably enough. That's probably all you need to see. Yeah, the previous chapter, I managed to get up, get out of bed, get ready, get the girls ready, and get in the car. And the girls' mom dropped me off at the emergency room, so we pick up there. So went into the emergency room. It was a great one here in Louisville, Colorado area, and no long lines like there would have been at Sharp Hospital emergency room in Chula Vista. Actually, no line at all. And so they took me right in and took me to a room, and I was lying there and in a lot of pain, and the pain seemed to be getting more intense. And I felt the need to watch Jocko's video on good, which I did, and I was wanting to watch it again. I asked the nurse if she would watch it with me because I just, felt I could absorb it a little bit better if somebody else were watching with me, and it would help divert my attention away from the pain. So we watched it together, and she was really thankful, and she really enjoyed it. She said, "Oh, well, I wish my 21-year-old daughter could see that." And in the conversation, she said something about, that her 21-year-old daughter's having a lot of problems, and that she'll get beyond it, but that like these 20-somethings just have so many problems. And I said, they just maybe don't realize all the good stuff they have, and they focus on the bad stuff. And I said something trite like that, and she said, yeah, that's probably what it is. And she mentioned in that exchange something about entitlement. Well, that was something of a pebble pitched into my cognitive pond. And it's kind of funny the way my cognitive apparatus was functioning. It was almost like there was part of me that was observing and experiencing my pain, but sort of above it in some way, and thought, well, I've got some other thoughts, and yes, we're occupied by this pain, and it's pretty intense, but I'm going to be thankful for that anyhow. I'm going to be grateful for that pain. And just like Jocko would say, okay, you've got problems, you've got pain, good. And so that was, so my mind was still functioning, even though it was sometimes hard to think because of the pain. And I remember they asked me, what level of pain do you have? And I said 9. And I was really kind of ashamed to say 9 because by comparison with many people who suffered pain throughout history, my pain level was probably barely a 1 compared to what they went through. But to me, it was about a 9, and I was tempted to say 10, but I thought that would really be pretty arrogant to boast of a 10 level pain. So I said 9, and but in spite of all that, kind of weirdly, my brain was working, and I was processing that thing about entitlement, and I said something about, something about too bad that the younger generation doesn't know what it's like growing up through the Cold War. And I'm not sure if I said that or just later thought it, but here's what I think. Here's the point of this particular post in the story is that I am glad. Wow, I mean, what a series of revelations. dawned on me, and here's the big thing. Yeah, this is one of the big things about this whole series of posts here is that I realized as I reflected on this stuff that entitlement, because that was the term that she had used about her daughter, the nurse had used about her daughter, entitlement. They feel entitled. And I realized, wow, I'd never quite seen it that way before, but entitlement is the enemy ultimately of thankfulness and gratefulness and happiness ultimately. And the way I came to understand that is that, if it was weird, but I thought back to the days when I was growing up when we would have these nuclear bomb alerts, and we would immediately get down and hide under our desks, put our hands over our heads, close our eyes, because if we were looking out the windows when the blast went off, we would be blinded by the glass and the flash and all of that. And but we were just growing up very aware that we were on the edge of annihilation. And different kids processed it in different ways, I guess. But it was that always present thought that not only could there be some bomb go off somewhere, there could be a nuclear device go off that would wipe out the school and us. And ultimately, getting under our desk was sort of an exercise in futility, I suppose, but as many have claimed since. But nevertheless, that was our reality. And then I also thought that, wow, in those days, we had dust storms. I was growing up outside of Dallas. And so it was kind of the tail end of the Dust Bowl years, and Dallas was not part of the Dust Bowl, but still, days would come when you'd look up north, and we were experiencing a big drought where we lived, and a lot of heat and not much rain, and we just cherished rain. And we'd look up north and we'd see this dark front moving from the north, and we thought, oh, it's going to be rain. And as it rolled in, it turned out it was just clouds and clouds and clouds of dust. And when we realized, or when my folks got the report that it was a dust storm, we would close all the windows, and I remember they would soak sheets and towels and stuff, and I don't know what they put them over I don't know where they put them exactly, but anyhow, it was to try to keep the dust out. And I think we had wash rags, and we'd try to breathe through wet wash rags to not be breathing in the dust. And the dust storm could last for, seemed like hours. Maybe it was 30 minutes, maybe it was several hours, I don't know. But it would last long enough that when it was done, everything was covered with grits. The plates in the cupboard, everything, the sheets, the counters, just everything was covered in grit. And so I am so grateful, actually, looking back on that experience, because I think that as I live and walk today, that somehow or another, at maybe a subliminal level, I do not feel entitled to clean air. I do not feel entitled to a safety from being from nuclear obliteration. And I think the kids that are growing up today, since they've been privileged enough not have to, well, in our society here, at least in this part of the country, to not face real, honest to goodness dust storms, to not be living under the continual threat of nuclear annihilation and awareness forced upon you by bomb drills that you go through at school. And so I guess I understand how young people today can have this knee-jerk entitlement, like they're really feeling entitled when they don't even realize they're feeling entitled. And this particular day, I'm thinking, wow, we are not entitled to much of anything, really. And if we think we are, can make our lives miserable. Like, I'm not necessarily entitled to be walking around without pain. And today, as I was limping and moving slowly and dealing with the pain in my, lower back and hip and all that, I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, this is such a hardship visited upon me. I was thinking, okay, and I'll do like Jocko says, I'll say good. But then also, um, I'm just thinking, wow, so many people live in a state of pain like that constantly or worse. And so it helped me be grateful for this day, even though it was a monumentally painful day, I would say, in my experience. So that's where I tie in, the dust and the atoms. Growing up with dust storms and nuclear holocaust threats, and just growing up with that in sort of your DNA, your operating system code that was laid down, and being able to walk around today and sort of be grateful for a lot of stuff that that most people take for granted. So that's the chapter on entitlement, I guess is what we could call it. Checking into the ER and my riff on entitlement. So that's the end of post number 2 in, I guess, what we're calling Adam's Dust, Dads, and Entitlement, something like that.